Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Today we're going to work on SaturnCI some more. I will share my screen. Okay, so Sanjeet, I think you might have been here last time. 'Cause
Yes, yes.
I didn't do a session last Wednesday because of RailsConf.
Yep.
So let me remind myself what I was working on. Okay, so the system logs aren't showing up. Is the problem that the job isn't sending the logs properly or that the controller isn't saving them properly? Okay, so dear viewer, in case you didn't see the last video, um, when you start a build in Saturn, these system logs, oh, which never even showed up at all for this one, um, these system logs, which show us basically the same stuff that shows up on the terminal of the machine that runs this job. I'm trying to get it so these logs stream in real time. And so far, I haven't been able to get it to work. Um, okay. Yeah, and let's figure out a test we can perform to see whether the problem is that the logs aren't getting sent or if the controller isn't saving those logs. Okay. So I guess I'll open up the system logs controller. Let's see. If you have any ideas, Sanjeet, for how we could perform a test for one of these two things, I'm all ears.
Is it outputting anywhere, or is the issue that it is not streaming?
Um, I think we don't know that yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not outputting anywhere. I can answer that part. But as far as
Hmm.
why, we don't know yet. Well, we could maybe do this. Oh yeah,
You
what
know
were we
what?
gonna say?
I would go the good old route. Putting some print statements before and after. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so I'll do this, and then I'll output the log chunk. Okay, then I'll rerun this build. Okay, and you might remember from last time, Sanji, that takes like a minute or so before we can expect anything to start coming through.
Yep.
But this is where we'll see it. Maybe I'll SSH into the machine in the meantime. Okay. By the way, this is kind of interesting. It shows that there are like 6 running jobs, even though there certainly are not, but we'll deal with that separately. Okay. Okay. I don't know what step it's at right now. Let's see if it's already sending stuff. Job events controller. Oh, okay, look. We see these 2 lines
Hmm.
and there's nothing
But
in between them.
in between, yeah. So it is not being invoked, isn't it?
Yeah. By the way, just to be extra sure,
Yep.
yeah, there's nothing there. Okay. Um, yeah, so that implies that the logs aren't getting sent. So let's see, system logs, yeah. Okay, so here's our stream logs function. I'm just reviewing this to remind myself what it does. how about this? Um, I don't know if this part, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. I don't know if this part is doing what it's supposed to.
So remove the API bit. Is that what you're saying?
I was thinking I could do something like this, like comment that,
Yeah.
and then make a new one where it's just like, this is a test,
Yep.
something like that. But let me be careful though, because we have two of these send content to API calls. Let's see. Okay, so we have the first one where we are last line. In the first one, we're just getting the last 100 lines apparently. And then every time after that, we are getting an additional chunk. Okay, so let's do this. I think we don't even need the quotes. Maybe we do. I don't know. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay. Let's see how that behaves. Okay, I'm going to SSH into this one. Okay. The fact that I got in maybe means the job machine is ready. Okay, I don't see anything happening right now. DL-F. Okay, let's see. Okay. I can't be sure whether that's from now or from before. Okay, there's a new one and it's empty. That is interesting.
So it is not, that if true, the logic is never going in there, isn't it?
Hmm. What do you mean?
Yeah, because the additional log that we put in the code, that is within a see it does the while true test, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's sending the first chunk or not. I don't think it is because if I look at an existing job, it doesn't have any logs whatsoever.
Oh,
So it seems like maybe not only this not working, but this isn't working either. Here's a question. We are calling stream logs, right? Okay,
yeah.
we are. Okay. Um,
Now
yeah.
you have put stream logs ampersand.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to direct it somewhere, like $1 or $2, something like that?
Hmm. Maybe, but Streamlogs is still getting run because okay, sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to
it is
do
getting
that.
run, but the output is going elsewhere. That's what I'm trying to say.
But we don't care about the output. All that needs to happen is these API calls need to get made. The output of stream logs is immaterial.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, sorry, I understood wrong then.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
Um, okay, so it is calling send content to API, but apparently I'm not calling it correctly because this is obviously quite simple.
Hmm.
So let's take a look at the send content to API function. Okay. Oh, hang on. All right, so we have the API path, content type, and file path. It's expecting a file path.
Which we are not providing, right?
Right. I think ChatGPT misunderstood how the function works, and then
Yeah.
I didn't notice ChatGPT's mistake.
Yeah, because the third argument has to be the location, right? Where the output should go.
Yes, rather where the output comes from.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Output comes.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think maybe we want two separate methods. The thing that we're currently calling send content to API, I think we might want to call send file content to API.
Hmm.
Actually, I'll do this. Yeah. And then the one that's just send content to API, we can pass in a value. Okay, so I'm going to change this to send file content to API. Okay. Okay, and this one, I don't know how to change it. So we can ask ChatGPT how to do that. Okay, I'm going to put this back just so I don't confuse ChatGPT. Right now, my send content to API function isn't written correctly. Um, the function is expecting a file path, but instead I want it to expect some actual content. Okay, content. Okay. And how did it work before? Oh, interesting. Okay, so looks like I only need to change this line. Okay, instead of file path, it's content. Obviously, these things are quite duplicative, but I don't want to deal with that yet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's give that a try. Change function to expect content instead of file path. Okay. Is that how that's not how that works? Okay, is it starting to send anything yet? Okay, log chunk content. That's interesting because didn't we change it from being hard coded? Maybe I made a mistake. I did make a mistake. Oh, it's content instead of that. I believe that's what it needs to be. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Well, at least it's
but
making it. Hmm.
didn't it see that the third argument was the location, right? No, in the function
Sorry, say it again.
was the third argument the content or the location?
Well, originally it was the file path, but then we created a new version of the function where it's the
Okay,
content. Yeah.
okay, yeah. You know what? Let's try this. Yeah.
Okay. Gotta go out of here. I'm curious about something. If I go to the system logs, look, that's pretty
Hmm.
funny. And it's interesting to me that it says Feb right before everything else. Wonder what that's about. Okay, I think I attempted to connect too quickly. There we go. Okay. Well, I guess we're still getting output from the other job. So let me actually delete this one. That way we won't get confused. Okay. I saw it said log chunk May. It's kind of interesting. It's saying May over and over. But it's not getting, oh, whoops, this is the wrong place. There we go. That is interesting. So it's sending stuff and the stuff is getting saved, but either it's sending the wrong stuff or the stuff that it's sending is not coming through correctly. Okay, so let's look at exactly what it's trying to send. Okay, so it's taking it from verilog syslog. That's the right thing. And I'm going to do this. Um, okay, so we can see, I don't understand why it says February, because obviously it's not February. And then if we scroll down a ways, it'll probably say May. Yeah. Okay. So one possible explanation is that it's just like grabbing the first word. Oh, yeah, that would make total sense. If we're not quoting it properly, then it may well just send the first word. Yeah, okay. Only the first word is getting sent. I'm gonna grab this one. I don't know if that'll let me copy. Yep. Out of this line, for example. only fab is getting sent. Let's change the function so that it quotes the content properly. Oops, properly. Properly. So it quotes the content properly so it all gets sent. Okay. Oh, all we do is add double quotes. Okay. Easy enough. Okay. Well, hey, at least we're getting something. Okay. Jobs. Okay. See if we're getting anything yet. Looks like not yet. Okay, how about now? Okay, job events controller. Okay, this looks like a bunch of log content.
Yeah,
Hey,
there you go.
nice. Okay, and now the last thing we see here is 1328. If I refresh it, I assume we'll see something later. Oh, no. Okay. I'm gonna wait for another one to come through. I guess it does have like a 10-second delay. There, another one came through. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should have been looking at the seconds, not the minutes. So the last one is 1328.27. Wait for another one to come through. Okay. Okay, 1328.47 now. So that is working. Um, let's see. I think I want to change it from 10 seconds to 1 second. I don't need that comment. I'm gonna change this from this magic number to um log sending interval equals 1. Log sending interval, whoops, in seconds. Okay. Yeah. Okay, change log sending interval from 10 seconds to 1 second. Okay. And I think this is probably good enough to merge. But eventually we're gonna of course want this to refresh without us having to manually refresh the page.
Yeah.
And we'll want the scrolling to like stick to the bottom.
Yeah, of course, get to the tail equivalent, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but before I merge this, I'm gonna look at the diff on GitHub. Oh, yeah, I'm glad I did that because we have some junk in here. We don't want that. I guess we don't need this troubleshooting comment anymore either. And I don't want this. Okay. No surprises there. Okay. I do think I would like some tests for this system logs controller. So let's do that before we merge. And by the way, are we seeing any logs yet for this test run? Yep. Okay, 1332, 13, 1332, 20. Yeah, so now like every time we refresh, we're seeing something new. Okay, great. Okay. So let's think about this. What test cases do we want? Well, first I know that I'm going to want a file. Do we already have any tests for system logs controller? No, we don't. Okay. Okay. Let me think about where I want to put this. I think I'm going to make a new folder, spec system logs, um, requests. Okay. I'll call it system logs spec. I'll copy from this other system spec. Okay. So first, let's just do kind of a smoke test where we say when we send some log content, it just gets saved. All right, so we're gonna need a job. I'm gonna search for create job. Hmm, maybe something is okay. There we go. Okay, do that. Okay. Now I'll say to ChatGPT, I'm going to give it my controller code. I'm going to give it what I have so far for my test code. And I'll say for my system log request spec, help me write a smoke test that says when some content gets some log content gets sent, content gets saved to the job. Here's a different request spec that you can use as an example. If there's any info you need but don't have, ask me. You can ask me to paste file content. Okay. Okay. So we're posting to the system log path. For some reason, it's not using the path helper. We'll have to fix that. We're sending this log content. Okay. Okay. This actually looks like it might work. Let's run it and see. Okay. We expected the system logs to you know what? I think I actually just want to expect hmm maybe I just want to expect a 200 response. Because
So,
this is just a
okay.
smoke test after all. Sorry, we're gonna say something.
Yeah, are you going to restrict it to 200 lines or something?
Um, no, I think I'm not gonna worry about that yet. That
Okay,
is
okay.
a good point though. That will be something good to think about because I'm sure there is some limit to how much could be sent in one
Yeah.
request. Okay, let's give that a try. Unauthorized. Okay. Well, we do need to log in. Little surprised ChatGPT didn't catch that. Okay. Think that's maybe what we want, but let's see. Hmm. Okay. Well, we logged in, but it's still unauthorized. Maybe that's not the way we need to log in. Um, hmm. Rebuilds. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So let's do this. I'll paste this to ChatGPT and then I'll show it this. I'm not expecting a very helpful response, but we'll see. No, that doesn't seem smart. Since you have the job but not the build context directly in your test setup, you need to adjust the user login. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see if it admits its mistake. No, it's not even understanding. Yeah, okay. We'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, so for some reason, our login appears not to be working. Well, for one, we're not using the API, we're not using the route helpers. So let's do that. Rails routes, grep system log. Okay. Okay, I think we can replace the path with this. I'm going to split this onto multiple lines so it's a little easier to read. Okay. Okay, same issue still. That's interesting. Okay. Well, this request spec is not quite apples to apples because this isn't an API request, which is actually weird. Why is it not? Rebuilds controller. Okay. Um, anyway, let's do this. Spec API. Yeah, let's look at this one. Oh, API authentication helper. Okay. Um, let's use that. Okay, API authentication helper. Let's see what that's doing. Okay, it has these credentials here. Then doesn't look like we're doing any kind of actual authentication, so we don't need that. See what happens now. Still the same issue. Interesting. Okay. So let's see what the difference is between these two. I'm going to look at yet another one. Spec API, jobs, spec. Okay. Hmm. Oh, headers, API authentication, API authorization headers. Okay. So that surely makes a difference. Okay. API authorization headers. Yeah, and that's this. Okay. So I think we want to do dot merge there. Let's see how that behaves. Okay. Okay. I'll change this to say it returns a 200 response. I'll change this to say um, valid log content. Okay. And I'll say when the log content is valid. When the log content is valid, it returns a 200 response. Okay. And I'm going to run that again just out of paranoia. Okay. Okay, and I actually don't want to put it where I put it. I think I want to put it somewhere else. So spec API v1. Yeah, I think I'll put it in here. Oh, and I see there's already something called job system log spec. So what is that? Um, incredible. It's basically the exact same thing as what we just did. That's kind of funny. Very similar.
It's a bit of duplication there, eh?
Yeah. Okay, I wrote that in January apparently. Okay. Well, what I did just now was a complete waste of time, but oh well. Okay. Well, I guess we don't need to add a test for that, because that was already there. But I do want to add a test to this test for something. Okay. System logs controller. So right now, I bet if I comment this line, this test will still pass. Oh no, okay. But I bet if I do this, the test will still pass. Yeah. Okay. So it's not appending. We need to make a test for appending. Okay. Um, I might clean these descriptions up later, but right now I don't want to think about it. Okay. First chunk, and then I'll say second chunk. And then I'll change this to first chunk, uh, second chunk. I'll have to have a space after the first one. Okay, and I expect this to fail. Define method job. Okay, I'll have to move this. Okay, we're expecting first chunk, second chunk, and all we get is second chunk. So I'll change this to job.systemLogs plus log chunk. Okay, and that failed because system logs is nil. But can I do this? There we go. Yeah, so this is what ChatGPT gave us, but I like my version a little better. Okay. And we can even make this slightly simpler, I think. Job.update. See if that works. Okay. Yeah. So to me, that seems at least a little bit tidier than ChatGPT's version. Oh, and maybe we can clean up our test descriptions. Okay, it appends anything new to the end of the logs rather than replacing the log content entirely. Okay. Okay. Add tests and refactor. Okay, now assuming that last one passes, I will merge that. And we will have our first version of the log streaming done. There is a problem. Right now, okay, so we have two jobs running in parallel. And right now we have the first job's logs, and then we have the second job's logs, and they're in the same,
File, yeah, or stream.
yeah, they're in the same screen. And so it'll be a bit weird if we have both logs streaming because, because this will be growing and then this other one will be growing too. It'll be kind of unnatural. It's like, what do we do? Do we scroll down to the bottom of the second job and show you those as they come? That seems weird. So I think we're going to want two separate tabs.
Hmm.
So I think that'll be our next task is to change these to two separate tabs. And maybe that'll be a good place to pick up for next time. Okay. Oh, and another thing we're going to want is streaming of the test output because it would sure be nice to be able to watch that as we go. Okay. So while we're waiting for this, I'm just going to check real quick and see like what might it take to get the test output streaming. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's streaming file content, at least right now. You know, I think we could probably make stream logs more generic where we pass it a file name. We pass it a file name and API endpoint, and then we can use it for anything.
Yeah.
So maybe I actually want to do that first because like it'll be nice to have this like all nice and slick and stuff, but I think like I would rather be able to see this by like periodically refreshing the page than get this all nice and slick, but not even be able to see this stuff in real time at all. So I think let's do that next. All right, so I'm going to merge this stuff. Git merge squash. Okay. To do next, um, make stream logs more generic so it can send test output. We can make stream logs, take a file name and an API endpoint. Okay, then that'll remind me next time we pick up. But we have made tangible progress so far.
Hmm. From no output to some output, right? Anyway,
Sorry, what's that?
from no output to some output. Yeah.
Indeed, from no output to some output, which is an improvement. Yeah, there we go. So we can refresh and see more and more. Yeah, and that's actually useful because now instead of having to wait, 2 or 3 minutes or whatever We just have to wait about a minute and then we can start getting feedback. Okay. Well, thank you, Sanjeet, for joining me as always, and I'll see you next time.
No worries. Yep. See you next time.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.